Hello, and welcome to the Minnesota Home Ownership Center's 8th episode of the Welcome Home Podcast. My name is Bill Gray, and today we're going to talk about two important alternatives to the traditional mortgage. We're going to talk about non-interest-bearing financing for those looking to accommodate religious restrictions on the payment of interest. And we're going to talk about individual taxpayer identification, or ITIN, mortgages for those who do not have a U.S. Social Security number. Joining me today are two experts on these topics, respectively. I have Mahamud Gorod, he's an account executive with Guidance Residential, and Fernando Urbina as a mortgage loans VP with Sunrise Banks here in town. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Okay, so I'm going to apologize to each of you in advance, as this will likely be two pretty separate conversations as opposed to the usual give and take we have on this program. But this is really important information, and it has the potential to bring more households into home ownership that wouldn't or couldn't consider it otherwise. So let's start with the non-interest-bearing financing. Mahamud, tell us a little bit about why this option exists in the first place, and why do people need this product? How does it work? And what is it called as well as in addition to non-interest-bearing financing?
Well, thanks, Bill, for the invite. Again, my name is Mahamud Gorod. I'm an account executive for Guidance Residential. Guidance Residential is a Sharia-compliant home financing company. To come to your question, why does this product exist? There are a lot of people in this market who want to buy homes but do not want to obtain traditional financing and are avoiding that for religious reasons. Mm-hmm. And that's why Guidance Residential exists as a company.
Okay. So I'm just looking at my notes here. How can you buy a house without any interest? I'm looking at the religious prohibition on paying. Is it riba?
Riba, yeah.
Riba, and so So I'm just explain this for those of us who don't know how it works. It's not like free money. It's not like, okay, you don't have to pay interest. Tell us how how that works.
Yep. So from Sharia point of view, or from Islamic perspective point of view, usury is not acceptable way of doing business. So
usury,
usury. You cannot just lend money and say, I'm going to charge you interest X amount for using my money. So that's basically what's prohibited in Islam. And I'm sure the other two Abrahamic faiths at one point had similar rulings.
Right.
So the point is not someone is just getting free money. It's not. I mean, our customers pay. We are a for-profit organization, and our customers pay similar to what they would have paid if they obtained traditional financing. The difference is the way the contracts are structured. Our contract is based on co-ownership. So instead of us becoming a lender, we're going to co-own the physical property with the customer.
Okay.
And that co-ownership allows us to make a profit from our customers. And like I said, the fee that customers pay is equivalent to what customers would have paid if they obtain a loan.
Okay, so it's a totally different financial tool.
It's a different structure, yeah.
Okay.
Ours is based on co-ownership. It's an asset-based contract. Traditional financing companies is going to be a debt-based contract. And that is, in the eyes of the Sharia, totally two different things.
So asset-based contract versus a debt-based contract.
Correct.
That makes sense to me. If I think about this, and the center, the Home Ownership Center, did a guide to non-interest-bearing financing in Minnesota. So I'm kind of working off of this for crib sheets. I understand there's 3 models usually of how this works. And let's see here. Installment sale, co-ownership, which you talked about, and lease to own. I know that, a guidance might not offer these other 2 models, but do you know how those models work?
Yes. So Murabah contract, which is the first one that you've mentioned, means we're going to buy the product or the property.
Okay.
We're going to profit on top of it and then sell it back to the consumer.
Okay. So that's the installment.
Yeah, guidance does not do that.
Okay.
What we do is the co-ownership.
Co-ownership.
So instead of us lending money to the customer, we're going to co-own the property with the customer. So, for instance, someone wants to buy a $300,000 home, and they're putting down 5%. We, Guidance Residential, will bring the remaining 95%.
Okay.
And obviously, it's the customer who's going to be utilizing the property. We're going to say, we're going to charge you X amount as a profit. That's our rate. for using our share of the home. So we make profit from the 95% share of the home that we own.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we follow the chart amortization schedule, depending on 15 years, 20 years,
Right.
30 years. The customer can buy us out sooner. And the minute that they buy us out, basically our profit ends there.
Then it's,
The
their house. Yep.
Exactly. And the other concept is the ijara or lease-based contract. We don't do that. But that basically, is self-explanatory. It's a lease to own, basically. The customer, takes the property as a lease and slowly builds equity and eventually buys out from the owner, from the institution.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. This, if people are interested in learning more about this guide of ours really lays out. You're going to have to tell me if I'm saying these words right. So murabaha.
Yep.
And that is the installment contract model?
Yes, that's a buy to sell, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Musharaka. Co-ownership.
Yeah.
And ijara.
The lease to own.
As the lease to own.
Yeah.
And then we also lay out how an interest-bearing loan works. So this is a really cool guide. And I will say, if you want to access this guide to learn more about these products, go to our website, hocmn.org, and just search for non-interest bearing, and it'll come right up. It's a PDF, and it's on our website. I did have one more question for you, Mahamud, and that is, do these non-interest bearing products work with government or nonprofit down payment assistance programs?
We do, and it depends, basically. If it's free money, basically, if it's a grant, then it's automatic. We work with them. If it's a loan, and that depends how that loan is structured. If it's a non-interest bearing loan, we may work with it. If it's interest-bearing loan, then it defeats the whole purpose of our product, so we don't work. So what we do is, if someone says, I'm going to get down payment assistance, we communicate with that institution that provides the assistance, and we ask them the underwriting guidelines for that product, and it's reviewed by someone in our main office. And if there are no conflicts between that product and our product, then we allow our customers to use that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is really good information. And like I say, in this guide, there's information on contacting the Minnesota providers of this kind of financing, and lots of information there. So great. Thank you so much for helping us understand that. Fernando, let's turn to you now in the ITIN mortgage. Tell us a little bit more about why this option exists. Why do people need to get a mortgage if they don't have a Social Security number?
Yes, and actually, we just changed the name of the program. It's just a special program right now because there was some confusion on whether it was only for people that had ITINs and did not have an ITIN as an individual taxpayer number. And did not have socials. There are some customers that might have a Social Security number of their own, but they don't currently have a valid immigration status.
Okay.
Right? So this program would be for them as well. So more than just ITIN is for people that don't have a valid immigration status at this point, or that they have visas that would not allow them to work in the U.S. Let's say a religious worker.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, we just call it a special purpose loan now. But yeah, I mean, most people would identify it with a loan for customers that have ITINs. We believe that everyone has needs and should have access to home ownership. And customers that have been here for a certain amount of time, have children that are U.S. citizens, have as much right to own a property as anyone else. If they are current on their tax returns and they have built some credit, and if not, we will help them. We believe that they should have access to home ownership, and this has been a quite successful program for us.
Right.
And obviously, we hope to keep helping people that way.
Okay. So how does an ITIN mortgage work when you compare it to a regular mortgage?
And it's actually quite easy because we follow the same guidelines that Fannie Mae would follow for mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
So we require the person to have tax returns and bank statements and stable work history, some credit.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever would be acceptable for conventional loans would be valid and acceptable for ITIN loans as well. Let's keep calling it that way so it's easier for people to identify.
Yeah.
So again, it's no different. The only difference might be that we require only 10% down.
Yeah, the underwriting's different.
Exactly. Well, and I mean that we don't require 20%.
Right.
We only require 10.
Mm-hmm.
Most other places would require 20.
Mm-hmm.
So we require 10%, and on a Social Security loan, to call it something, a traditional loan, with 10% down, you would have mortgage insurance. Our product, our loan doesn't have mortgage insurance.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a little bit of a rate differential, of course,
Yeah.
because we have to be self-insured that way. Again, since we cannot
Right.
we cannot get mortgage insurance.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, whatever is allowable under a regular conventional loan would be allowable on ITIN. Whatever is not, we would not take.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite simple that way, actually.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. I was talking to you guys about this, and you helped us with this. We created a guide to ITIN mortgages in Minnesota this summer as well, and that's available on our website if you're interested. You go to hocmn.org, and then so that's our homepage, and then you can search for ITIN, and that is ITIN, stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, and I mean, this is a really good guide. It talks about, all the different situations where this might be a good option for someone. You have people, an individual from another country living in the U.S. for a specific period of time. You've got, like you were talking about, individuals living in the U.S. waiting for citizenship and naturalization. Green card holders. My brother-in-law is a permanent green card holder. So he has the right to legally live and work in the U.S. indefinitely, but I don't think he has a Social Security number. So there's lots of different situations for how this product might be useful for people, and it's all in this guide. Go to our website and search ITIN, and you can find it. What else was I going to talk to you about?
Because again, you mentioned someone that is a permanent legal resident.
Mm-hmm.
There are some banks at this point, some lenders at this point that are only lending, unfortunately, to U.S. citizens and permanent residents.
Uh-huh.
But to customers that are DACA recipients or
Right.
have a work permit
Mm-hmm.
or are under asylum,
Mm-hmm.
a U visa,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, some of those banks are not lending.
Right.
And we are.
Mhm.
And for that, it's not the ITIN loan. It's a regular conventional with
Mhm.
conventional rates, 3% down,
Mhm.
first-time homebuyer programs, everything. If they need down payment assistance, we have programs that would work with that.
Good to know.
So that is important to keep in mind because someone doesn't need to be
Mm-hmm.
a citizen or a permanent resident. In fact, with us, someone with a U visa, a recent immigrant, an asylum seeker, someone with a work permit, a resident,
Mm-hmm.
and a citizen, they would get the exact same loan,
Very good.
the exact same loan.
Very good.
So, and also with ITINs, with us, we can combine someone that has a Social Security number and someone that has an ITIN. So sometimes
Well,
we
that's
have
interesting.
households. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
households where, again, the husband, the wife might be a citizen or a
Uh-huh.
resident, and their spouse or their significant other, they don't need to be married,
Right.
might not, or a parent and child.
Right.
Things
They're
like that.
making money. They're paying taxes. They
Mhm.
just don't have the Social Security number.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So and if some people are still waiting for their case to be decided, if you will, again, if they are getting a loan while they have a social security number and a valid permit to be working and living here, then again, they get the same loan. It doesn't make a difference. For someone that would say, I'm going to wait till I'm a resident or I'm going to wait till I'm a citizen,
Sure.
it's the exact same program.
Doesn't matter.
And for someone that doesn't have a social security number yet and might be waiting for their status to be decided, they can buy the house now. And the moment they get a social security number from day zero, from day one, they can get a regular conventional loan with us, which is very important.
You were telling me that,
Yeah. I mean, with some other banks that would
have like a waiting period.
Yeah, they normally want to see 2 years of taxes and W-2s and so on for that person to get a regular conventional loan. With us, it's from day zero. I mean, the moment they say, I got my social security number today, but my previous taxes are filed with an ITIN, or my previous credit history was opened with an ITIN, that's fine with us.
Fascinating.
Again, regular conventional loan.
All right. So both of these kind of avenues into home ownership have the potential to reduce that racial home ownership gap that we have in Minnesota, and that's why we care. That's why we're talking about this. That's why we've made these guides. Fernando, let me ask you the same question, though I asked Mahamud about down payment assistance. Do ITIN programs work with the down payment assistance programs?
Our program works. Is their program that sometimes doesn't.
Okay.
Right? So the guidelines of the programs themselves, some of those
I see.
Yeah, so we would accept it. If there's a program that would take a customer with an ITIN loan or a mixed immigration status household, if you will, right? If they are okay with that, we certainly are.
Okay.
Right? Most down payment assistance programs that people are familiar with do not take ITINs. We currently have access to one program in the city of Minneapolis proper, not the metro, but just the city of Minneapolis, that would, depending on where they fall as far as median income, they might get access to either $20,000 or to $10,000. But again, that helps.
Yeah. And that brings us to, a whole nother conversation that we should have on this show is down payment assistance programs and what are the best practices and how do they work right now? It's kind of all over the map. You guys know this. It's kind of difficult to work with. We have a legislative proposal to streamline things for down payment, kind of best practices, like I said, and kind of go from there and make these programs easier to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish in the first place. No, this is really good stuff. Thanks for helping us understand that. I mentioned earlier about our two guides. Again, you can go to our website, hocmn.org, search for ITIN, ITIN. You'll find a blog post and a link to the PDF of this report. Search for non-interest. You'll find our report on non-interest bearing financing, a blog post and a link to the PDF of that report. So if that's something that you want to look into, please do. The other thing I'll say that I say all the time is our home ownership advisors know this stuff. And to the extent that new information comes up, people like Mahamud and Fernando come in and let us know, and we let our advisors know, and we keep everybody up to date on that kind of thing. Yeah. So advisors can walk you through this as well. I just think that's one of the really great things about it. They're equipped to handle pretty much any situation that comes their way, and that's the point. And it's always free for that. So I think that's it for this episode. If you want to find an advisor, go to hocmn.org/buyingahome. Our advisors are embedded in organizations across the state. They'll work with you to help you get mortgage ready, educate you on the buying process, walk with you through every step. They also understand these two products. Were you going to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add a little something. You were saying that you're trying to work on making some of these programs easier. If someone has applied in the past and for whatever reason they were not able to get get pre-approved, it might be worth it for them to contact us again.
Ah.
In that some of our guidelines had been eased up. Last year, to say something, we didn't have access to this down payment assistance program that works with ITIN. This year we do.
Okay.
And again, some of our guidelines had been eased up. I mean, we were requiring someone not to have any late payments in the last 24 months. Now we allow a couple, things like that.
Okay.
We used to require that the person had 1 year of credit history. Now we're okay with less than that, and we can use alternative credit. So again, if someone for whatever reason did not take that step last year or took that step and was not pre-approved, it might be worth it for them to contact us again.
Yeah, that's really a good point too, and it's kind of a good point across the board because even the down payment programs themselves they're trying to shift to be more applicable to these alternative situations, and that is a good thing. So thanks for that as well. I want to thank both of you guys, Fernando and Mahamud. Thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Join us next time when we will talk about the history of racial discrimination in home ownership. We just did a workshop on this yesterday for Twin Cities loan officers, and it was really interesting. It's such an important topic to understand. We'll have special guests with lots of research and statistics to consider. The bottom line here is, for me anyways, is you don't know what you don't know, especially for those who's never experienced racism directed at themselves. You can't know, but you can educate yourself, and the facts are incredibly eye-opening. It'll be a really great conversation, so keep an eye out for when that episode drops. In closing, I want to acknowledge our sponsors, as always, Associated Bank, Midwest One Bank, and Old National Bank. Our sincere thanks to each of these organizations for their support. And that's it. Thanks, and have a great fall.